Okay, so James was in an interview where he was discussing his quarrel with Chrisean, right? And I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I know this is about to sound kind of mean, and I don't care. It's my opinion. I saw a lot of people in the comments basically saying he's a queen, complaining about how he felt about the situation. Oh, it's not that serious. He's being dramatic. Let me tell y'all something. And I know this about to sound kind of messed up, but I told y'all, how I felt about Chrisean and Blueface in a couple of videos, right? So I'm not going to go back down, my reasons why I feel that they should have never been a thing, right? I already told y'all why, right? So here's the thing. Chrisean is one of them girls that she was that girl growing up, but as she gets older, she's not that girl anymore, right? And I feel Chrisean gets a pass with a lot of the things that she does because she's red with good hair and she's in shape, right? Even with or without her tooth, a lot of guys will still knock her down. Don't believe me? Read the comments. I've heard and read some crazy comments about guys still going up for her. I think the craziest comment I read was a guy saying he would still marry her with her tooth out of her mouth. So it goes to show, with or without a tooth, people still feel she's attractive, So here's the thing, okay? Chrisean is one of them girls that she feels she can basically get into any space at any time. She feels she's untouchable, right? She hasn't quite met the person yet to humble her. And that's why she moves the way she moves. Even when the police was looking for her, remember, y'all, she was on live. How bright is that? You never see people on America's Most Wanted grabbing their phone. Hey, y'all, I'm over here. Like, they don't do that. And here's the thing. Okay, and I know this is about to sound kind of messed up, but I don't care. I don't know about, it. I grew up fighting a lot, okay? And I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna just leave it alone. I haven't won them all. I haven't lost them all, you know? So I know how it is to get upset, to a point where you respond. Even as an adult, I told you about the Walmart story time. I told y'all about what happened to me in a Chinese restaurant. I've told y'all about a couple of incidents. I haven't been in that many physical altercations as an adult. I've been in a couple, but I can count on one hand how many physical altercations I've been in as an adult. I'm talking about from the point I was 18 on up, right? I can count on one hand how many physical. Now, as far as verbal, I've lost count. But physical, not that many, right? As a child, how many fights have I been in as a child? Let's see. There was 3 in elementary school. 7th grade, how many physical? I think it was 2. Was it 2? I think it was 2. Or was it 3? I think it was 3. No. Or was it 4? It was either 3 or 4 in 7th, 8th. I think it was 2. High school. It was 1. 2. I think it was about 4 in high school. You see how I gotta round them up like that? I've been in rape many quarrels. Like I said, I ain't won them all, I ain't lost them all. So I can speak on, the fact that I know how it is, right? I've been in quarrels with guys. I've been in quarrels with girls. I've been in quarrels with dykes, right? And I think out of all my fights, I've told y'all, I think the dyke was the worst. She only hit me twice, right? But I was saying to myself, if she hit me one more time, I was saying in my head, I said, I know I was going to drop. Because she only hit me twice, but it was the force behind the punch. A bitch thought she was about to be down. Like, I just knew if she hit me one more time, that shit was a wrap, right? Y'all ever heard, I told y'all ever heard that old saying when people say you felt like the wind was knocked out of you? That bitch hit so hard, she hit harder than no other. I done had my so-called uncle hit me before, and she hit harder than him. Okay, and he hit somebody so hard one time, let's just say the person is no longer here. Like, no cap. Dude, he caught dude on the bike and he hit him so hard, it killed him. Like, no cap. And he did some time for that. He did some hard time for that. So, you ever heard people say somebody's hands is registered? His hands is registered for he cannot hit people like talking about it. So, when we got into it, I said, I didn't afford a dyke, and she hit harder than you. He said, you know, if I really hit you the way I really want to hit you, you would be just like that man. And I knew what man he was talking about, right? So my dude said, she was like, that's true, because the way he hit, is you wouldn't have been able to handle it. Like my aunt was like, if he was to hit you the way he wanted to hit you, you would feel it through your bones. Your whole body would tremble, right? So I say all that to say, you know, some of us can take a punch, right? Because we probably have been through some shit. You know, life have probably, knocked us down a couple times, whether it was mentally or physically or verbally. Y'all know I got a speech impediment, but anyway, what no matter what, some of us, we have been through some shit, so we can take a punch, right? We get back up, we swinging, win, lose, or draw. But some of us can't take a punch, like talking about it, because we ain't really, you know. So when people say James being dramatic, he probably ain't really been in no altercations for real. So it probably did do something to him. It probably did something to him. You know what I'm saying? He probably ain't really been toe to toe with nobody like that for real. Very rare do you hear about gay guys really scrapping for real. I mean, sometimes they do. You'll get those guys like my guy friend. I have two different kinds of guy friends. I have a guy friend that don't fight nobody. He don't bother nobody. And he tries to avoid confrontation. But I have a guy friend that he don't bother nobody. But if you come at him, he will fire back. Right? And he'll tell you in a heartbeat he grew up fighting because people knew all his life he was gay. So sometimes the guys, the jocks, the football players and stuff, they would pick a fight with him because they would call him all types of sissies and punks and stuff. And it made him tough. So he had to fight. And he will whoop your ass. Like, real shit. He tough as nails. He tough as nails. But you also have those guys. Hey, look, I'm telling you, that one right there, he will fuck you up in heels, a dress, a skirt, with a mustache on his face. I'm telling you, he's that kind. He will fuck you up, right? And he told me stories about how guys have tried to, he rendered services to certain types of guys, and they'll try to get over about his money, and he'll have to fuck them up, right? So, then you also have the gay guys that, I told y'all about in the Walmart story time. You know what I'm saying? My guy friend at the time, he was gay, and a bitch thought she was going to bully him. So I told y'all that whole entire story time, So I get it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to say, James, oh, he's been dramatic. He's not, because some of us, we have been through some shit. You know what I'm saying? So we understand. We understand, you know, me personally, growing up, people used to think I used to like to fight. Like, it was a lady that went to my church a couple of moons ago. You may hear me bring her up a lot because she she was an important piece of the puzzle to my childhood, if that made sense. She was definitely, even though we're no longer in contact, um, she was somebody that, you know, I really do feel to this day she holds a little place in my heart, even though we haven't spoken in years. But nonetheless, her son got murdered, I want to say a couple of years ago, and we hadn't spoken in years, and she's still mad at me, you know, and that's fine. You know, I told y'all I'm the type of a bitch, you know, once I'm done with a person, I'm done with a person. But, you know, I don't rewrite history, if that makes sense. I don't, once I haven't heard from you in years, I'm kind of good on you, if that makes sense. But this person is a little different. This person is a little different, right? So, nonetheless, let's just say we got into it, and I said something very hurtful. I said something very hurtful to her, and she just couldn't get it past it. But like my dude said, don't let nobody hold you accountable for something that you did when you was 13. That you said to them when you was 13. And I did cross that line. And, you know, I just threatened her. And that hurt her feelings because that was something, because she had did a lot for me. She had did a lot for me. You know, and she was there for me. And, you know, sometimes when people, like my dude said, sometimes when people really, you know, they done move the moon and the stars for a person and they say come out their face like that, it's hard for that person to get past it. And I understand that, you know, but like I said, hell, I'm 26 years old. Nobody gonna hold me accountable for some shit I did when I was 13. Now, I said I was sorry. I apologize, you know, and not to be dismissive like that, but I understand. And if it's meant for us to cross paths, if I were to see her today or tomorrow, I would apologize, you know, and I would make an attempt to, you know, but hell, I ain't kissing nobody's ass. But when I found out her son passed away, I mean, we have spoken since the situation when I was 13. You'll see why I brought this up. But you could tell it wasn't the same. And it got back to me that, you know, I think we spoke in I was about, I want to say from the age of 17 to 20. We was on and off. It wasn't like it used to be. It wasn't like that at all. It wasn't like that at all. So, you know, it wasn't the same. It wasn't the same, and you could tell it wasn't the same. And she would throw shade a lot. And that's part of the reason why I don't like you know, I don't like being okay with people after it was troubled waters, because I've noticed throughout the years people become very shady. You know, whether I did something to them or they did something to me, it's like it's a lot of shade thrown. That's why I don't really believe in being okay with people after it's troubled waters, because it seemed like it's never the same. So that's why I was just like, well, fuck it. You know, if I see her, I'll speak, but you know, I'm not gonna put myself on nobody. But anyway, the reason why I brought that up, she grew up fighting. And that was one of many things that I guess you could say made us close, because she grew up fighting. And I used to go to the church and I would tell her about the things that I would go through. So she would always tell me she could see me, she could see herself in me, if that makes sense. So a lot of the times when I would go through things and I would tell her about it, she could relate, right? So the reason why I bring that up, right? Um, because some people, when they hear stuff like this, they can say, okay, I get it. Kind of like that lady, right? But some people, that ain't been through shit, they'll never get it. They'll never get it. They'll never understand it because they don't do violence. They don't do violence in no capacity. And I've met people like that. They don't do violence. If they feel, or I've heard a lady say that went to my church, when she gets into, this is a new church, because when I got older, I started going to my own church. You know, I'm not at that church no more, but I like the choir. I like the preacher. I felt the church that I told y'all about with the lady, they choir sucked. And I ain't trying to be funny, but I didn't like the preacher preaching. Like, I didn't like the way he preached. You know, y'all ever been to a church and the preacher just like he can't preach? Versus, that was my dude's church, right? But versus my church at, you know, when I became older and I started going, you know how you get older, you pick your own church. I felt that preacher was better. But my dudes didn't like that church. He said all he do is a whole bunch of screaming. He don't really be saying nothing. But to me, I felt that church was better. But now that I'm older, that church was a little bigger too, right? But you'll see why I brought this up. But now that I'm older, I realized my dude's church was better because it was smaller and the people were more genuine. To me, with the bigger churches, the people don't be that genuine. I've noticed since I've been older, I've come to that conclusion, but nonetheless. So it was a lady that went to the bigger church, right? And she will always say when she, you know, bumps head with a person, the minute she sees that a person has a violent streak to them, raising their voice or to the point where they act like they want to put their hands on her, she doesn't deal with them because she doesn't like violence. She said she was 54 years old at the time. She's older now, and she had never been in a fight a day in her life. So it does something to her when somebody act like they want to jump on her or something like that, because that's not who she is. She said she tries to avoid confrontation in all spaces, right? But for me and the person like at the other church that I grew up with, we're gonna call her Miss S. We're gonna call her Miss S. Miss S and I, we know how it go, right? But Miss S used to always tell me, she used to always say, I love to fight. I don't like to fight, but I told you I grew up with big boobs, you know, so people, the kids were very cruel, very cruel. So, you know, we all know how children can be, you know, so I used to have to stand my ground. Like I said, win, lose, or draw, right? So, and I don't like to fight. To this day, I don't like to fight. My back not what it used to be. You know, it's I don't even know if I moved the way I used to, you know, because I haven't been, like I said, my physical altercations were in my early 20s. So the last time I've been in a physical altercation was the Chinese restaurant. I told y'all that, and that was last year. That was the last time I've been in a physical altercation. So prior to that, my early 20s, like 2021. You know what I'm saying? So when I was picking up all them objects and beaming it at that big motherfucker, y'all, my back told me about that the next morning. My back was so out of whack. Y'all, my back was out of whack for the whole week. That comes from me. I wasn't used to moving those muscles because it's been a while since I've been in a physical altercation. I mean, years. 2021. I'm 26. It's been a while since I've been in a physical altercation. So I say all that to say I don't think he was being dramatic. He just haven't been in that many altercations. And some people are not. Some people are like that. You know, you got different types of people out there. You got people like me. I don't like to fight, but I will if I have to. Then you have people like the lady at my old church that I told you about, the bigger church. She doesn't do confrontation at all. At all. You know what I'm saying? At all. And then you have people um, the lady at the big church, she remind me of James. James, I think his name James Wright. Don't quote me on it. She'll cry, or she'll put a guard up because that's just not who she is, right? Or you have people like, people, we all met people in the world, they don't bad example. We have people in the world that look for trouble. Like Chrisean. In my opinion, she's the type of person, she looks for trouble. Because if the situation went down the way that he says it went down, where she just punched him for nothing, I thought y'all said Chrisean don't bother nobody. When she was on the show South Central, I see she didn't just haul off and hit some of them girls for no reason. Unless they hit her, yeah. But other than that, I still don't understand why she would just walk up on somebody and just hit them in the face like that. Unless they was talking shit. Now, back in my day, I'm not going to just walk up on somebody and just punch them in the face just because I heard they was talking shit. I might walk up on you and ask you, did you say da-da-da? Back in the day, I would. But now, since I'm older, I don't give a fuck because I'm older now and I realize people gonna talk shit. That's just what people do. They're gonna talk shit. You can't just walk up on people every time and hit them in the face just because somebody talking shit. But back in the day, I probably would walk up on you and say, did you say da-da-da? And if you said it, then I probably would hit you. Yeah, but I'm not gonna just walk up on you and just hit you, just no questions asked, because that's giving bully. That's giving menace. You just can't hit people up just because you heard they talking shit. You'll be fighting the world. Like, true tea. It's not giving that. To be honest, y'all, I think Chrisean hasn't met her match. That's what I'm getting at. I think she hasn't met her match. Chrisean is not that far in age from me, if I'm not mistaken. Time is up for walking around fighting people, boo. I mean, we getting older. It's not giving that. You have a son to live for. Was her son born when she did that? Was he? I don't know. It's to me, 26 is a lot closer to 30 than 20. I mean, how old is Chrisean? She can't be that far in age from me. After 25, I feel you're not that far from 30. In my opinion. 26 is closer to 30 rather than 20. I don't know if it's just me. I feel like as we are approaching 30 slowly, the behaviors that we exhibited when we were like 20, 21, I feel we shouldn't still be doing it. Like, true tea. Why are you still out here cutting up? You don't feel you too old for that? I mean, I understand if somebody jump in your face and you have to stand your ground, or they do some disrespectful shit like the Chinese restaurant. Okay, that's justified. But I told y'all about what happened in the Chinese restaurant. But that's different. But just walking up on people and punching them in the face, I just feel like that's too much. That's too much. It's too much. And it's giving you on your bully. I don't know about nobody else, but bullies never did it for me. You get no cool points for being a bully. And you get no cool points for hitting people that you know not a fighter. You know they not a fighter. Like, nobody was saying, ooh, Chrisean, you did your big one by hitting James, and you know he's not a fighter. You know he's not a fighter. You don't get cool points. I tell you what, she wouldn't have tried that shit with the baby. Y'all know the rapper The Baby? She wouldn't have tried. Who's another one? She wouldn't have tried that shit with, who's another one that don't mind? Jonathan Majors. She wouldn't have tried that shit with him. She wouldn't have tried that shit with the ones that we know for a fact don't mind putting their hands on a woman. She wouldn't have tried that shit. Ooh, Trey Songz. She wouldn't try that shit with him. She wouldn't have tried that shit with him. So I feel like you picking and choosing who you'll put your hands on. You know who the ones not to put your hands on. She wouldn't have tried that shit with Chris Brown. She wouldn't have tried that shit with him. You picking and choosing who you put your hands on. You gonna put your hands on poor little James. Poor little James that don't fight nobody when hit a fly. So he say. But I'm gonna leave it alone. Right? Based on what he shows us, he's not a fighter unless he shows us different. I'm gonna leave it alone. Because sometimes people play victim. But I'm gonna leave it alone. But like I said, y'all, she picking and choosing. She picking and choosing. Chrisean just ain't met her match yet. If she keep on, she'll meet it sooner or later. She'll meet it sooner or later. So look, I don't know who needs to hear this, but if you ain't heard it before, you heard it here first, right? And maybe it's just my opinion and how I look at the world based on my own experiences with people, places, and things. Y'all may hear the pastor in the background. I'm at my night job. But let me tell y'all something. Since I've been older, I realize how important it is. You have to surround yourself around people that fit your future and not your past. Like, I'm sure we've all heard that quote before, but let me break down that quote to you from my own perspective, right? Because let me tell you something, one thing that I have learned in life, and maybe it's just how I feel about things, and that's fine. You know, I don't mind being on an island all by myself, especially when it relates to my feelings and how I feel about certain things, whether it's something I've been through or just any topic, right? That I don't mind standing alone. Since I was a child, I never minded being the oddball, right? So here's my thing, okay? Um, I don't wanna. I'm gonna just say it. I don't wanna be around you and feel like I have to insult myself to make yourself feel better. That's number one, right? I don't want to be around you if I feel like I have to make fun of myself so you don't do it first. If that makes sense, right? I'm gonna give you an example of two examples of each point I just made. Then I'm gonna break it down a little better of what I'm telling you, right? Because I don't know who needs to hear this, but if you have somebody around you that you feel like you don't want to tell them your plans or what you got going on because you feel like they're gonna try to say you throwing off or you bragging, get the fuck away from this person, right? Because I don't want to be around you if I feel like I gotta step on eggshells telling you my good news because you gonna think I'm trying to throw off on you or I'm trying to fix your spirit. Fix your spirit. That's number one. And go get you some good news. So me and you can, we can share our good news together. I don't want to feel like I gotta water down my dreams and hopes and plans. Like a girl used to say back in high school, and this gonna be the girl that I'm gonna give in one of my examples. She always talking deep. You see what I'm saying? Did it ever occur to you that people just got places they want to go and people they want to see? And I'm not a people person, no, by no means. I am not. Uh, um, I don't like to mingle. I'm not. I'm not that girl. For the first time in my life, like I told my dudes the other day, somebody at my day job said I was a people person. And I don't know where she got this from. That's something I never heard before. But since I've been older and around different people, I've noticed people have said I was good with, like at my day job, they said I was good with talking to some of the patients. And I'm trying to figure out where y'all get that from because no, I'm not. You know, um, I just, you ever met people and you could tell like those are your people, not like your people, but
they are misunderstood. So when I say your people, meaning like the old saying goes, a misunderstood soul knows another misunderstood soul. Basically, for those that catch it, they catch it. If you didn't, it went over your head. Oh well, right? So I'm gonna give you an example of both scenarios I just gave you, and this is how I look at the situation. I don't want to be around you if I feel like I just gotta water down me to make you feel better, or I don't want to. I don't want to feel like I have to insult myself so you can't do it first, right? I want to be around people that I'm comfortable with. I don't have to say shit about me to make you feel better. I don't, it ain't about being so uppity and stuffy and all this other bullshit. It's about being comfortable, right? If you make me feel uncomfortable, I'm gonna give you an example, right? Okay, number one, I told y'all in high school I used to get picked on a lot because the kids were really mean. I had big titties, stuff like that. The same girl I'm giving you in this example is the same girl I just told y'all about that said I always talk deep back then, right? And this is the same girl that I told y'all in the bus story time that I fought her sister. This is the same girl, right? So I'm gonna give you an example. Back in high school when prom came about, um, I was like, looking back, and then I'm older, I realized y'all might hear the pass in the background anyway because I'm at my night job, right? So back in high school, I look back now and I say to myself, you just weren't around the right people because the fact that you felt like you had to down yourself before, so no, the next bitch couldn't do it first, that means you weren't around the right people. Because the right people, you wouldn't have felt like you had to do that around them, right? Of course. So I would say I'm gonna put this dress on my fat ass, right? Because I knew that was something that she would always make fun of me about. So I noticed when I would say I'm one fly ass fat girl, she couldn't say but after that she couldn't say fat bitch no more because I already had said that, right? Which my good Judy at the time told me on the phone. She said, why don't you say it first so she can't say it? Why she can't say that no more? Because if you say you fat and you know you fat, that takes away the maliciousness out of it. So she can't throw in your face what you already know, right? Which was bad advice. That was bad advice, to tell me to put down myself so she can't do it first. That was bad advice, right? So so boom. I'm waiting to see if somebody gonna come get this door, but it looks like I'm gonna be the one that had to come get this door. Okay, 1 second. Y'all, I think some of these people just don't want to read, or they can't read, or they being lazy, or just a combination of all three. Because the sign clearly says, call box broke, walk around the side, or contact the person you here for. So why the fuck are you ringing the buzzer? What are you, illiterate, or you just want to, you lazy, you don't want to walk because you got to walk all the way around the side of the building. So that's what I'm really thinking it is. They just don't want to walk. Because I mean, the lady talking about, what do you mean to call boss, bro? I said the sign right there. You didn't read the sign. And she kind of caught an attitude like, that's not being smart. I mean, it's a sign right there. And I'm the one that put the sign up. It's right in the middle of the door. And I look right at her, look at that sign. That's why I said I think some of them being lazy. I look right at you unless you were just looking at the sign. Y'all, I met a guy before at my old night job that couldn't read. That shit ain't no joke. And he told me not to tell nobody. I ain't tell nobody there. I'm just up here telling y'all, and I told my dudes when I got, on the phone with her. But I couldn't believe it. That was my first time actually meeting somebody that couldn't read. And my guy friend was like, you done met a lot of people that couldn't read. You just probably didn't know they couldn't read. It's, he always said it's more prevalent than we think it is. But anyway, so nonetheless, so yeah, so that was one example of how I don't want to feel like I'm around you or in your presence and feel like I have to insult myself to make you feel better about you. You see what I'm saying? Like, I'm gonna give you another example. Once upon a time, I wouldn't say I was hanging with some bitches, but I was around these two girls, and being young, wanted to hang out with older people, And the peer pressure was real. I guess I went cool because I didn't want to drink or smoke, and they will often throw in my face, if you gonna be with us, you gotta take a puff. You gotta, and me being me, I'm not gonna do nothing I don't want to do. So I would piss them off because I would always say no, right? And they would say, you just not cool. We not gonna hang with you no more. Da da da. Bullshit, right? So nonetheless, one time we was walking on the beach, right? And it was a group of guys. Keep in mind, all of us were BBWs, right? But me, I was thicker, but I wasn't as big as them. If y'all getting where I'm going with it, right? But nonetheless, I got to speed this video up because I'm getting a phone call. So when we was walking on the beach, um, it was a group of guys walking past. Was like all of them pretty, you could tell they cute. They keep themselves up, especially the one with the pink lipstick, and the pink on. So I had on pink lipstick, pink, a pink outfit, and neither one of them had on pink lipstick or pink, right? So we all knew it had to be me, right? So I heard them, you know, and stuff like that, right? So to make them feel better, I started saying, I don't want you, real childish and stuff, looking back, that was childish of me. I don't want you, ew, to make them feel better about them not wanting to holler at them. You see what I'm saying? And I thought, but now that I'm older and I look back on that situation, back like when I was 19, 20, I'm saying to myself, man, fuck them bitches. Get around some bitches that are all that look good just like you, and all y'all can go out and, if that's gonna be the case, and the guys that want to talk to you and them, fuck them. You know what I'm saying? Like, I shouldn't have to basically start beef with somebody, just because they looking at me to make you feel better about you. You know what I'm saying? And them bitches spent more time in the mirror than me. So I can't help. I mean, they went and got $200 frontals for us just walking on the beach. While I just, had my little Chinese store wig on. Y'all know what the Chinese store wig is giving. Want no more than about $30, $40. But it, was cute for what it was. I can't help, you know what I'm saying? You know, so they spent more time, hella makeup, girl. Hella makeup. All I wear is lipstick. That's all I wear. I'm not big on eyelashes and foundation. I don't own one thing of foundation because I don't wear it, right? So this bitch, she spent about 2 hours in the mirror. When I first told my cousin that, she said, you lying. I said, this girl spent a lot of time making her face up, right? So that's one example. I don't want to feel like I gotta be around you and I gotta water down me to make you feel better about you. No, I don't. I shouldn't have to do that. No. So I've learned in life, if you gotta insult yourself or insult somebody else to make somebody else feel, no, fuck that, right? Okay. So that's number one. Okay, and number two, I don't want to be having a conversations with somebody, and I feel like I can't tell you my good news because you gonna feel like I'm throwing off on you. I'm gonna give you an example. Then okay, she calling again. Okay, so we're gonna have to wrap this up. I'm gonna give you an example, right? I don't want to be talking to you and telling you my plans, and we having a conversation, just catching up, and you say something like, you love throwing off. You always throwing. How am I throwing off? How am I throwing off? You ask me what's been going on, what I've been up to, and I tell you some good news, and uh you love throwing off. How? I'm gonna give you an example. Um, Me and my guy friend was supposed to go to the movies the other night, which we did, right? I told somebody that he wanted to take me out, we supposed to be going out, he been asking could he take me out for a while. I said, okay, you can take me to the movies, right? Here she go. Why you always throwing off? How am I throwing off? You asked me what was I doing, and I told you that, I'm thinking about letting somebody take me out, how's that throwing off? How? I don't want to be talking to people feel like every time I gotta step on eggshells with you, or if I get a job offer or interview, or I get accepted, like when I got accepted into grad school, she always throwing off. How? Because truth be told, like I told somebody the other day, the plan was not for me to go to grad school after undergrad. The plan was me to go straight to law school. So that was actually something that wasn't even on the agenda that took place. So what are you talking about? It's just I'm tired of people like that. I don't want to be bothered with people like that. Fix your spirit. Fix your spirit. I ain't got shit to do with whatever you got going on that you unhappy with within you. They ain't got shit to do with me. But I don't want to be around that.